And how about this? Joining us now, rock and roll renaissance man, I have to say, Rob Zombie. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Welcome to the Valley.
Thank you very much.
So you've got a big deal going up in Scottsdale, Halloween, huh?
Yes, tomorrow night is the grand opening of The Great American Nightmare, so very excited about that.
You know, we're about the same age. And when
29.
I was yes, I was 29. When I was a kid, when we were kids, Halloween was mostly for like little kids, right? And then once you got to junior high, you're kind of out of it. What?
Yeah, Halloween was, I remember it was like trick-or-treating, and then the rumors went around that someone had bitten into an apple with a razor blade in it, and then trick-or-treating went away, and then it was just done. There was nothing.
Why is it, what's it about Halloween that everybody loves?
I don't know. It's like compared next to Christmas, it's like the biggest holiday now. I think it's because everybody gets bored, and on Halloween they can all be mental. They put on costumes, and they dress in all kinds of crazy stuff, and then they go nuts.
Become somebody else.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I loved it as a kid. I always loved having any kind of rubber mask or something because I was pretty shy as a kid. But you put on a mask, and you're instantly another person. So I think the whole world likes that. I mean, Halloween's getting popular around the world. And they don't even know what it is. They just know we love it.
Right.
Some weird holiday we made up.
And in a way, it kind of reflects your career. I mean, because you became a character on stage, right? Do you feel like you're playing a character on stage yourself?
Well, in a weird way, it's almost like the person I get to be on stage is actually me. And in a funny way, I felt before that when I would work, had different jobs, that was the character. Because I'd go to work and the way I'd have to act was not me, because if I acted like me, I would get fired. Obviously. So I would play this character of a normal, well-adjusted person at my job until they would catch on to me and I would get fired. So no, actually now I get to be, I think, me.
You're the guy.
Or the character and myself have blurred, so I don't know.
And
it's
you've
like the Incredible Hulk.
You've done something that not many rockers that I'm aware of have done, where you've gone from a successful career in rock and roll, and then you kind of transitioned into a whole bunch of other stuff. You have several movies, what, 5 or 6 movies? How many movies?
Yeah, I think I have 6.
6 movies.
Point, yeah.
And you made a remake of Halloween that became the highest grossing in the franchise, the whole franchise.
Yeah, that was really successful. That's still, that blew me away. It still has the record for that weekend, Labor Day weekend, did crazy business. Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of rockers have gone into acting, which seems like a logical extension, but no, as far as directing and doing that, I don't think anyone
But you're the boss.
else.
I mean, you're writing, you're producing,
I am the boss. Did everyone hear that? Did he say that loud enough?
So, I mean, is it because it's so tough in the music business anymore? I mean, why did you transition?
I just always, I mean, as a kid, I always had this weird fantasy of like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to make comic books. I want to be a rock star. I want to make movies. I didn't think like I had to pick one. And I guess in a weird way, I've just sort of kept that mentality alive. And, I was doing music. I love music. I never want to stop doing that, but I always wanted to make films. And as soon as I got the opportunity, it started through directing music videos. I've done, 30 or 40 music videos. That sort of transitioned into finally getting to make a feature film. And now that's been for 13 years or so making films. I usually get one every 2 years made or so.
And yours are different. I mean, yours are pretty hardcore. And I used to watch the old Halloween movies and things, but like Devil's Rejects, I mean, that's like a disturbing movie to watch. And that's probably a compliment to you.
No, I mean, the type of movies I love all kinds of movies, of all sorts, but I really missed, I think it's being a product of the 70s, I really missed going to the drive-in. And there was a certain type of movie that would always play the drive-ins or the second-run theaters. There wasn't mainstream stuff, maybe it was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Dawn of the Dead. They were huge movies in their own right, but they weren't for everybody. And that was the stuff I loved, so I always thought when I make movies, I want to make that type of stuff. I'm not really concerned with being commercial, even though, strangely, they've been very commercial.
Right.
But, I just want to make the crazy stuff that I think of.
You're, I don't know how far you are in production, but you're actually crowdfunding a movie. Is that happening as we speak right now?
Well, the movie's not happening yet. That'll probably start early next year. The crowdfunding has been going on, well, it's almost over now. It's been going on for 60 days. Yeah, and that was just another way I thought, the fans are so fanatical about these films in particular that I thought, well, with the next film, we could get them involved early, because they always want to be involved after the fact. So I thought, well, we could do it early, And I'm not asking anyone to just give us money. That would be absurd.
You're selling interesting things.
Yeah, like stuff that they would buy usually after the fact, like scripts or T-shirts or to be an extra or different things. I forget what we have. But, it's going really well, and the fans seem to really dig the fact that they can get involved early on and be part of the process, which, I just looked at it from my point of view. I'm a super fan of so many things that if I could have been involved in any way in the things I love, I would have jumped at the chance.
And do you see this, and I've heard of several people doing this now, but you see this as going forward where you're not worried about a studio so much having to write you a check for $5 or $10 million, whereas you can raise your own money and be your own boss again?
I mean, every time I go to make a film or even a record, it seems like the system, the business changes. You know, so I don't know what it'll be 2 years from now. I mean, crowdfunding could be a thing of the past, but for right now, it's an interesting thing that seems to work. And if there's one thing that has been happening, especially started with music and now movies, the middleman seems to be replaced. It seems like, you know, which would be the studio or the record label, we almost don't even need them anymore. You just kind of almost go around them, especially as, you know, direct to video and things like Netflix making stuff has become so commonplace that, I mean, it almost feels like in a couple of years, theaters will be extinct. People will just want it. They'll have a TV this big in their house, and they'll just want the movie, boom, right in their house instantly.
Right.
So I don't know. Every year you got to relearn the business.
It's true. And
weird.
people are going like right to the consumer now.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, which is great because so much of what is a problem that's been a problem for me in the past is like the type of movies I want to make. I can make them at a fairly modest budget. I mean, sometimes the Halloween movies are more expensive, but it's the marketing and the distributing that is mega expensive. So that's where it gets tricky because you could make a film for, say, $2 million, but you really need another 20 million to properly distribute it. And that's where suddenly you've made this weird, quirky movie and it's got to earn back a fortune. So this way, when you cut out that other part of the marketing and distributing, you can get it right to the people, and it makes, you know, it's a way to free up the content, you know, because that's why, you know, when you see movies in theaters, it's mostly just blockbusters.
Right.
Because those are the only movies that can generate enough profit to pay back what they're doing. All the smaller art films now are VOD.
Right, somebody's got to make like what they think is going to be a surefire hit or make $100 million or it doesn't happen.
I mean, they want it to be a franchise too. I mean, that's the thing. It used to be that like if you had a movie that made $100 million, you were a king. But now they're looking for these things to literally gross $1 billion worldwide, which is fine. But it was the same thing in the music business. There used to be bands that we all love, anything from the Ramones to Cheap Trick, that just existed forever. But now it became in the music business. You could sell 1 million records, and the label was still like, who cares? They're looking for everyone to sell 10 million records, and that's exactly what torpedoed the record business because there was no artist development, there was no longevity. It was just quick. We need a hit right now to get us through the fourth quarter before it ends, and you know you can't sustain things that way.
Does it upset you when you look at the state of rock music, particularly today? I mean, here in the Valley, we just lost a long-time rock music station, 93.3 KDKB, went to alternative. So I mean. What do you think about that?
That is really a bummer because you really can, being on tour, you can really sense it because certain markets will be really great markets and then they won't be, and it always relates back to the radio station. If there's a great station, it's a great market, and you'll have huge crowds. And when the rock station dies over the years, the crowds die and dwindle off, and what would be a killer market is not a great market. And then, just out of a business point of view, you tend to avoid that market because it's a dying market, you know, and it's really a drag. Yeah, I mean, we used to go places and it'd be like the radio stations would literally be fighting over each other to sponsor the show. There'd be so many stations. Now it's like, can't even find one. It's really crazy. Where does a guy like you, who's been at this game now since the mid-'80s, where do you find the hunger to keep? I mean, this is not easy stuff you're doing. I mean, you're out there hustling all the time. No, I mean, it can be pretty exhausting trying to do, especially, I'm always trying to do so many projects at once between the Halloween event and being on tour and making a new record and making a new movie. It's a little nuts, but I mean, in a weird way, it's like I feel like I'm living the dream. I mean, these are the things I wanted to do, and now I get to do them, so I never really run out of energy for it. I run out of time sometimes, but not energy, you know. You're into it. Yeah, I dig it. I mean, I wouldn't, if I didn't like, I have no attention span for things I don't like. If I'm bored, I'm just done. So is that the key? Finding something you really dig? Yeah, I mean, isn't that the key to everything? I mean, the people I know that are really successful just love what they do, because you can't fake it. I mean, you know, we've all had jobs we hate, and you can never be successful at those jobs because you hate them. Right. That's why I'm not the world's most successful bike messenger anymore. Yeah, you were a bike messenger in New York, right? Oh, it's the worst. Did you say you had to ride your bike on ice and snow and fight buses in New York City? Oh, it's the worst job. You know, the second time I got thrown off my bike and got hit by a car, I was like, I gotta stop. I'm gonna be dead soon. And I was terrible at it anyway. I was the worst bike messenger. But you're good at this. So let's talk about what's going on in Scottsdale. Let's really plug what you have going on. Sure. So you're doing a concert to open it up tomorrow night, right? Yeah, tomorrow night is the opening night of the whole event, and we're doing a concert because we're on tour. But what's great is our tour linked up with the opening night. Nice. So yeah, we're gonna play a full show, you know, full concert like we normally would, and then the mazes are open. The mazes are spectacular and they're huge. I mean, it takes forever to get through them. So yeah, be prepared for a long, brutal night. And they're intense. They're kind of like your movies. You don't want to bring like a 10-year-old kid out there, or what do you suggest? I don't know. You know, they're not. We didn't make them for kids. We made them for adults, for sure. But I always see kids going through them, and some kids can handle it and they love it, and some kids are not happy when they come out of it. So I don't know.
Parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, you're the parent. You decide what your kid can handle.
But it's more than just haunted houses. Don't you have like a place to get drinks and?
Yeah,
like
I mean, it's kind of like a whole carnival. There's a giant indoor where the haunted houses are, which must be 100,000 square feet or something. They're huge. And then outside, there's food and drinks and refreshments and attractions and freak shows and vendors and all kinds of stuff. So there's a little sort of outdoor area too. I mean, there's a lot. It's a long night of stuff to do.
Westworld in Scottsdale, if you want to check that out. Rob Zombie, so nice to meet you.
Hey,
thanks for coming
having
out.
me. Right
Take care,
on, man.
bud.